Good morning, everyone. This is Natalie Gilly with the Bicycle Alliance of Minnesota. Welcome to the Minnesota Bike Walk Leadership Network webinar. It's August 19th, 2020, and we're going to talk about distance learning today. So I will go ahead and share my screen so that you guys can follow along with the webinar today. So our topic is wheeling and walking during distance learning. And we have three speakers today: Scott Cobbs from St. Charles Public Schools, Katie Kennedy from Zumbrota Mazeppa, and Michelle Kieffer from BikeMN. So just to introduce today, we'll use the chat box for introductions if you'd like to type in your name, your location. And our question for the day today is, have you participated or are planning to participate in an event that was held in a different way this year because of the coronavirus? And if so, which one? So if you'd like to go to the chat box and enter in your name, location, and the answer to the question, we'll introduce each other in that way today. So just to welcome everyone to the webinar, we have people from all over the state that are joining. This is a statewide network of leaders throughout Minnesota, greater Minnesota, and in the metro. So today we're welcoming people from Minneapolis, Northfield, St. Charles, Zumbrota, Mazeppa, Hutchinson, Wabasha, Fergus Falls, and many other places throughout the state today to the webinar. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we get rolling with our speakers today. We have some upcoming BikeMN webinars. We hold the webinars through BikeMN for our leadership network on the third Wednesday of the month from 11:30 to 12:30 on Zoom. And we will be holding the webinar in September on the 16th, and the topic will be virtual events. In October, it will be on the 21st on equity and data collection, and then in November on the 18th, and December on the 16th. Many of you that are on this webinar may also be part of the Safe Routes to School network led by Jill Chamberlain. And they held a couple of meetings already for third quarter here, July 9th and August 13th. Their next webinar will be held on September 10th. It will be an hour and a half, and it will be a discussion around equity and engagement. So if you're interested in joining that network, if you are not already engaged, please reach out to Jill Chamberlain, and she can get you connected with this leadership or with the Safe Routes to School network. So today we have three speakers on our webinar, and I'm thrilled to first give an introduction to our first speaker, who is from St. Charles. So Scott Cobbs attended UW La Crosse and majored in PE, health, DAPE, along with a coaching minor. He is currently an elementary PE and DAPE teacher and has been teaching at St. Charles for 24 years. Coaching experience includes wrestling, baseball, and soccer for 30 different sports seasons. And Scott loves the outdoors, which includes many of his favorite hobbies. So what you may not know about Scott today is he joins us live from St. Charles at the school because they are going to begin school on Monday. So we're very thrilled and excited and grateful for your presence today, Scott, on the webinar. So welcome, and I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you. Can you see me?
Yes, I can. We can hear you as well. Thanks for joining.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we start school Monday. That's just about 5 days away. We have a building referendum project. Thank goodness it passed. We have some much needed improvements that are going on, and not only do we have, no doubt, the corona issues going on, but we also have a quicker start to our school year. Since we start August 24th, we've had workshops. I'm in a workshop right now, actually, and was able to take some time away to talk to the group, which is great. I agreed to be here because I feel some pretty big loyalties to the Bike Minnesota group. After I went through training at some workshops with Michelle and CJ and a group of others, I was pretty turned on to the idea of getting bikes for our school district. And when we were rewarded a bike fleet, it was fantastic. So to also help out the cause I felt like this would be a nice gesture to get back on and let everybody know what we're doing in southeastern Minnesota and what maybe a FIA teacher might be thinking during these times. So if you have some questions, maybe we can get to those towards the end. And Natalie can guide me through that a little bit. I'm just not going to touch my laptop. I'm fearful that I might lose somebody. um, yeah, we're going to scroll through a few pictures around the St. Charles area. There's some country roads that have been blacktopped with a shoulder with a DOT, which is fantastic. This is a city park area that we take kids out walking and biking on. It's also something nice for the community. There's basically been a new loop around St. Charles recently that have tied together some neighborhoods, and we're getting started on more trails. So that's kind of nice. Through a SHIP grant, we've improved our intersections with crosswalks and lights and buttons to help aid safety in different crosswalk areas. This is another crosswalk that's downtown. We do take our kids walking, and we do have kids biking using these intersections as well. It's just another example of a curb bump out with a nice coloring that was added just a couple years ago. And initially, people didn't know what was going on. We weren't used to these nice intersections, but boy, are they nice to get visible for everybody. So again, downtown, similar intersection. That's Highway 74. And the nearest road comes to our school. That's only a block away, which is a pretty major highway, which is nice to have that right there. Another example of that same intersection. So I just thought I'd maybe take a few pictures around town showing how kids get to and from across busy streets. And now it's nice to have some of those nice signage and bump outs that the kids can use. We also have crosswalks, crossing guards there at times also. And that's there at that intersection, which is great. So thank you for the people involved with SHIP that made that possible for us. And there's our school, and I am sitting inside that building as we talk. So another bump out around school. And there's a construction project right now. Normally buses would be parked behind the school and kids could walk in there, but we can't this year. The whole back end of the school for at least the 2 months, maybe into November, nobody can be back there. There'd be no recess, no walking, no playing, no bikes, no buses. And there's another picture of it as we're adding a new cafeteria and a gymnasium. So right now there's about 30 construction guys back there working. And again, we start school Monday, which is going to be great. It's just we have to deal with that. And that's Whitewater Bike Shop. Greg Gall owns that and runs it, does a really nice job. He also services our bikes, which he's about 4 blocks to the north of our school. And really a cool bike shop if you're ever in the area. And again, there's the backside of the elementary school, which just brings up a couple things. I'll just keep talking as we go. As we have these issues, it has made us think about a few more things as our thought process of how we're going to start the year in Phi Ed class. We have about 535 kids in our elementary school, and with no recess area back there to start, it's going to create a few challenges. But what we've decided to do is stay together as a team. We're going to do what we can. We're going to stay positive, of course, and do the best we can with what we have. What we do have is we have nice walking routes, and we're going to engage in that right away. The first week of school, we're going to do our walking program, because there's also a busing issue because of COVID. We have a district policy that if you live inside 2 miles of our school, you're going to need to walk to school, bike to school, or get a ride from a parent or a plan. Because of COVID, we can't pack the kids on buses. So I'll talk more about that later, but there's going to be some issues that we could also, there's a kiddo there. That happens to be my son. We started a triathlon in town a number of years ago. That's Crosby. He's going to be a 6th grader this year. We have about 200 people in youth kids, age like 3 and 4, all the way up to high school age kids now in a triathlon. We swim, we bike, and then we run with many routes around town. And Anyway, that's a picture of that. And that happens to be one of the runners during the route too, probably running. What would he be doing? He'd be running to finish at that point. So, and that's a transition zone. Again, it's always around July 4th. We couldn't do it this year, but that was another thing that kind of spawned in our area from doing more biking, more walking. There was more interest. And one of the gentlemen in town said, we should just do a kids triathlon. And we started that. And we've been doing that for about 5 years now. But I'll move along with our thought process as these slides are scrolling through. And what we're thinking about doing is just kind of controlling our best effort, our best attitude as we start the year, doing with what we can in school. And we've decided that we're going to initial our year with walking and biking because of our construction projects and so many kids biking into town now. We need to provide safe routes. We need to get everybody back on the same page of, okay, what is the safest route? Do you know the route? Do we stop at the edge? Do we look left? Do we look right? Do we look left again? Do we know our blind spots? Do we know how we're getting there? Can you go with a neighborhood? Could you go with a parent? Could you go with maybe an older sister or brother or meet people? The traffic ideas we've talked about and the rules of the road. Our kids are trained for that because we've done Bike Minnesota stuff before with our fleet. And I think we're going to be probably a head up because our kids are trained. And we're going to just have a big boost of a review of that the first couple of weeks of school. We're going to have to because because of COVID, like I said, not as much busing of kids anymore. People are going to have to be kind of on their own on a way to get to school. It's either that or, we're back to distance learning potentially if things go bad. So there's a lot of good things about walking and a lot of good things about biking, and we'll talk about that too. This isn't a punishment. This is another avenue. And if kids learn the way, they can get a lot of independence and they can go places. They can go a lot of places and they can have a lot of fun. And I think I'm starting to see more of that. Our bike rack's been packed the last few springs after we've encouraged things. So anyway, we're going to be doing a lot of that this start of the year. But mainly it's going to be about finding solutions this year. And our principal has told us he doesn't have all the answers. And I don't have all the answers. I've been doing this for 24 years and I love my job. And I'm going to have to find ways. I'm going to have to find ways through problems, and problems are going to happen. And I might be punting by the end of the week that maybe my plan didn't work. But we're gonna get through it, as everybody here is probably creative and thinking and find new ways to do things. We're going to be doing the same thing. But that's kind of how we do that. How we're going to lesson plan through this is going to be based a lot on space and rotating kids in a safe manner. We've talked a lot about traffic flow in school. We've talked about washing can stations and disinfecting things, and we kind of have a nice plan for that. But I don't want to scare kids. I want to get back to school and be excited and be that positive life force and be ready to go. I know I'm gonna have a few chats that are gonna start blowing up. There I am at the football field. All right. So maybe I will try to get to some questions here in just a minute. I'll just say a couple more things as we go through here. Let's see here. I think in our elementary school, we're going to start out with masks this year. So you're going to see all of us wearing these. And if I'm outside, I think I can take this off along with my kiddos. But if I'm inside, we'll be wearing these. And we have a nice racking system for masks and a system to deal with that, I guess, when I want to waste our time talking about all that. But I do like our plan. I think our plan can work, and it's worth a shot. And I'm anxious to get back at it again. So again, we have a controlled, detailed situation going through recess, through lunch, through school. And me as a FIAD teacher, I can't wait to get the kids back in here. And we're going to spread out, and walking is going to be great. Biking is going to be great. And some of those other lifelong activities that we can do without having kids being all over each other. Scott, here, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Are you going to jump in the chat box here and respond to a couple questions?
Let's do that.
All right, sounds great.
Okay, can I say more about funding sources was used to buy those bikes? I believe that was through the Department of Transportation. DOT was a major fundraiser for that, and we thank them for that. I think they wanted grants out there to have people be aware of bike safety, and they wanted their transportation people to have safe routes and not have bikers and walkers in the wrong spots. So I think that was a great thing for us to get on top of, which is great. Talk more about administrative support and these couple of weeks with communicating to parents about walking and biking to school. Yeah, 100%. I've got free reins to help out and be a leader with this. They're looking for suggestions. My administration's swamped right now. You can only imagine. So myself, along with a team of FIA teachers and other avid bikers, um, had some great suggestions on things, and we pushed out a lot of information through Bike Minnesota yesterday in a email to every single parent in the district. So that's about 1,000 parents or so, and also with some helpful hints through the binder that I received through Bike Minnesota, just on basic rules of the road kind of reminders. So that helped. So right now everybody's got some helpful tips if they read their emails, and that'll be a nice suggestion, and then they're going to get a nice dose from me as they rotate to my classes. What else here? Is there any other questions there that you see, Natalie?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Maya.
Okay. There's a question in the chat box asking how to overcome PE teachers' objections to walk bike fun education and bike fleets. What are your colleagues saying about those two things?
Okay. So if I hear you right, Maya, you're saying what are either FIAD teachers that are objective to it, but not other teachers, just FIAD teachers?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for reading those questions here, because I'll mess this up. If somebody wants to read those for me, like you, that'd be great. I think I have deep connections with other FIAD teachers in the area, and I think sometimes they just wonder if they can do it. They might be a little scared about doing it, and if they know the safe way to do it, and if they're, the where do we store them? How do I do it? Is this what I want to do? Maybe they're not comfortable doing it. But after they hear us talking about, like, oh, that sounds pretty awesome, So I think just more of an awareness piece, like it's out there. A roadblock is probably maybe I could be more of an advocate too in the area, having others reach out. Maybe others could come borrow our bikes, perhaps, and they certainly could. Probably just letting people know with the resources that are there. If you don't have bikes, it's tough to do a bike unit.
Definitely. Thanks for tackling that question. And I believe you already touched on this question about administration support, communicating with parents and families the past few weeks.
Yep, I did. Yep.
Great. And then funding sources. And that looks like that's all the questions we have in the chat box right now.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Maya, and thanks, Scott. I just wanted to pause to recognize you and your enthusiasm and positivity and just optimism that this is going to work, and being such a wonderful leader for your school. St. Charles is really honored. I'm sure they're really blessed to have you there, and it just the story that you've shared, and you talked through some really, really heavy things that are going on for your school, and things that probably took a lot of work to get to with such grace and poise today. I just am really impressed and am grateful you're here today to take this time to be with this group and to share your story from St. Charles.
Well, thank you. Those are some kind words, but it comes with great ease because I enjoy teaching, and I like hearing all your stuff too, and thanks for everything you've done for us. So it's really not that big of a deal. So thank you.
Yeah, Scott, you're a wonderful leader, and we appreciate you being here. Now, this is the thing, is the group, everyone that's on the webinar here today, if you do have any questions for Scott, I'm going to pause for just a moment to see if you do have any other questions you'd like to unmute yourself and ask by audio or add to the chat box. I'm going to give just another minute or so to do that, because I believe Scott is going to drop back off here maybe in a couple of minutes to do a few other things. Usually we'll have Q&A at the very end of the webinar. but I want to be really respectful of his time too. So, but if people do have questions and you think of them at a later point in time, feel free to email them. So we'll get those to Scott to answer. So any other questions in the chat box, or people who would like to unmute themselves to ask by audio a question of Scott? Now I've put everyone on the spot. All right. Well, Scott, we have your contact information, and we will definitely pass along any additional questions if they do come up. And we really appreciate your time today, spending with our leadership network and sharing, you know, a little bit of insight into what's going on at the school in St. Charles during really challenging times. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks a lot. Anybody can email me anytime, and hope to have a good school year. And it's a little bit different, but everybody kind of adapts in all their ways, so we'll be just fine.
Sounds great. If you'd like to put your email address in the chat box before you drop off, then people will have that and they can follow up with you directly.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, thank you. So today we have 3 speakers, so I'm going to pivot to the second speaker today and welcome Katie Kennedy to the call. Katie Kennedy is, she teaches 9th through 12th grade health, physical education, and DAPE, and she's taught in Zumbrota Mazeppa district for the past 13 years. She's married with 3 children and enjoys hiking, biking, and swimming with her family. She has taught with the BikeMN curriculum for the last 3 years. So we had the Walk Bike Fun curriculum available for teachers to implement prior to the coronavirus, and now today we're discussing, you know, the new environment that we're in and how that's working, and some of the thought process that's going into how this is going to happen this fall, at least beginning and then adjusting along the way. Katie currently coaches softball for the Zumbrota Mazeppa district and is the chair of the district wellness committee. So welcome so much to the call, Katie Kennedy.
Thank you. So I guess first I have to say thank you. Like, we've had a ton of support through FIAD and wellness from the Bike Association, and from also, I saw Tina Moen was on here from Wabasha SHIP and from Goodhue County SHIP. Lots of support from those organizations, and Safe Routes to School and Minnesota Biking. Specifically, I guess I teach at the high school level. So I teach 9th grade FIAD and high school elective FIADs, 10th grade health, and then I do all adaptive FIAD for kindergarten through 2nd grade, and then 7th through 12th grade. So I have a little bit of mix of everything. Looking at how we're starting the year, I guess, we are kind of, this is pictures from pre-COVID, obviously. So we are kind of taking a lot of group work, a lot of group challenges, a lot of group successes. That picture on the bottom is homecoming. And we're taking kind of what used to be and trying to change it into what now is. Our K-6 is going to be in school all day, every day. And our 7-12 is currently starting in a hybrid model. So we have an A group and a B group, and then they alternate days, with Wednesday being an at-home learning day total. You know, as we look at this, and I don't have answers for a lot of the things that are going to happen, but like Scott said, that positive attitude right now going into this year is going to be so important, especially for our seniors who all want to come to school and be together as a class, but can't because they're split in half by alphabet. And so they're coming in and they can't be together, and the juniors can't be together, and everybody's coming in kind of knowing that it's different. So trying to keep their mindsets positive while still acknowledging that we have standards and benchmarks in teaching to be done. So on the next slide, I can speak to a few of the standards just in looking at planning for the year. We've kind of, these are the standards that we've chosen to focus on for at least the first quarter. And they all kind of have to do with self-selection, looking at technology use in enhancing fitness, and looking at students creating their own best strategies and creating competency, outlining nutrition and fitness plans for all self-selected activities. On the next one, here is, I took kind of what we did in distance learning last year and looking at how that worked and trying to apply it to our coming years. So here is an example of an elective FIAD that I taught last year called New Moves. And we did a month couch to 5K project. So this class happens to be an all-female class. And each week we use Google Classroom and then Technology Schoology. We set a schedule for the week. So they had days that they would run, days that they would stretch, and days that they would rest. And they kind of got to pick their schedule for the week based on what they already had planned. So it wasn't anything that was super set in stone. They also got to pick how they wanted to do it. So they got to walk, bike, or run. So they could figure out how they wanted to complete that 5K. We started tracking on Strava. So Strava, they would all create an account and they sent me their Strava names. And they'd post on Strava 4 times a week. And then it was like a Facebook feed. So all I had to do was look in the morning and look at the night. And then that kind of turned into them commenting on each other on Strava and giving each other like the little hearts and the thumbs up and stuff as we were going through and kind of pushed them. At the end of the month, we set a day or a week to do the 5K. And they got to message me and tell me whether they were going to walk, bike, or run it. And in small groups, we met at the Covered Bridge Park or in Mazeppa, and we completed it together. Or some of them completed it with family, some of them completed it with friends, and we kind of had a poster at the end where after they were done with their 5K, they took a picture with the poster like, yeah, I did it, and then sent that in. So this picture is just a couple of the girls that I had that completed the 5K, and then a couple of their Strava posts that they had. In terms of the Walk Bike Fun curriculum, we've been using it for 3 years, and our kids absolutely love it. Looking at this from starting it, in terms of the question on how do you get FIED teacher support, it's scary. I thought it was scary, but you have to be willing. We started really small in one group, one class, and now we've grown so all students from 7 through 9 get to do the bike unit. And we have biked in, obviously we've biked in lots of rain, we have biked in snow, we have biked in sleet, depending on when we get to rent the bike trailer for the week, and we make total use of it. So this year, this fall, spring, we didn't get to use the bike trailer because of distance learning, and we did a bike on your own unit. So we still used the curriculum. We still used, I think you can go to the next slide. We still use the curriculum. We took a lot of the distance learning stuff that Minnesota Bike has on their website, and we put it into a PowerPoint and then kind of videotaped commentary over the PowerPoint and stuff that we would have taught in class. We then stuck it into a platform called Edpuzzle, where as kids watch this video that we created through Edpuzzle, you can strategically place questions at certain times. And then in order to move on, they have to answer that question. So that kind of assesses their knowledge and assesses how they're understanding. And we could put things in like the ABC quick check, like how you look left, look right, finding hazards in a car, biking with traffic, and we could assess all their knowledge on that. We're fortunate in Zumbrota to have the Pioneer Trail, and we again used Map My Run, we used Strava, and they had an assignment, I think on the next slide maybe. Yep, so they had an assignment where they had Bike Anywhere Day. So they had 2 days where their assignment was just to go for a bike ride. And so these are some pictures that they posted of them on their bike rides. And then the third picture or the fourth picture down here with the map, if they didn't have a bike or didn't have access to go on a bike ride, they got to log into Map My Run account and create a bike route that had a design or created a word or did something like that, and then just screenshot that picture and submit that. This picture over on the right side is one of my adaptive FIED students who was really scared. He fell off a bike when he was little, and he was extremely frightened of riding a bike again, and his family is avid bike riders. So through BikeMN, we got the adaptive fleet as well, and we got him out on one of these tri-bicycles, and he loves it. So that morphed into having a tri-bicycle donated to the school, specifically for him. And during distance learning, we took the bike to his house, and then his family just bought their own. And I have gotten countless pictures of them biking as a family this summer, and they are so grateful, and they just love it and the freedom that it's brought to their family. So that's been really fun as well. Also during, I think next slide, also during the Walk and Bike Anywhere week, we created as a PE health department. Every week we focused on different areas of fitness. So this one on the right is the Walk Bike Week. And we created these little documents through Adobe Spark and then sent them out to families over Facebook, Instagram, and our Infinite Campus Messenger with just little messages about, hey, guess what? Remember the Pioneer Trail? Here's how long it is. Here's where you can start it. Here's some key things to remember about signing when you're walking, biking. Remember, here's where you ride with traffic, be seen, and just some health and safety tips. Other ones that didn't rely on biking were lots about cooking. There was one about mental health. We set up one to create obstacle courses with their families and just different things that they could do to be active during the distance learning phase, instead of always just sitting kind of throughout the day. And I think the last slide is our, after the biking, we're like, okay, that's great. And we want to do more. So we found Nordic Rocks is a also Minnesota-based company, and they help fund skis, cross-country skis for schools. So 2 years ago, we got into Nordic Rocks, and here is some pictures of our classes skiing. And we do skiing from kindergarten all the way up to seniors in high school. So we have a set of cross-country skis for our little kids, and then a set of cross-country skis for our bigger kids. And you know, they have such a good time with it. So this was like beach day while we were skiing. We do different themes. We do self-selected trips. We have different routes that they can go. Some have hills, some are flat. And then we also have snowshoes for our high school students. And so we do different snowshoeing units as well, kind of throughout the winter, to get them outside and get them moving and get them exposure to different things they can do in Minnesota very independently. And I think that was kind of all I had to say.
Thanks, Katie. And I saw just a comment in the chat box. You mentioned Tina, and Tina did mention that the skis were funded by SHIP, and that's an allowable expense. So just something to connect the audience of people who are participants on the webinar today. Many are working directly with local public health or have a connection or represent local public health on this webinar. So thanks for mentioning that, Tina. And what a wonderful story, Katie. It's just well-rounded, healthy connection with all these different activities, including walking and biking, and well-used walk, bike, fun curriculum, and modifying things along the way. So, and I heard that you mentioned about using Strava and Map My Run. You mentioned a couple other things, Google Classroom, Technology, Schoology, I think you mentioned, a couple different technology apps. So it's really impressive how many different ways that you're utilizing the technology to get through this time and still stay really engaged with the students. So I'll pause for a moment here to see if anyone in the chat box or who would like to join by audio has any questions for Katie. Thank you so much for presenting today here. Maya, do we have any questions in the chat box that you might share with Katie?
Yes, we have one from Michelle. Have you seen more kids walking or biking to school since you've taught Walk Bike Fun?
So since we've taught Walk Bike Fun, we have also implemented National Walk to School Days. So as we've implemented these, we do them we've done them every other week in the spring and then every other week in the fall. And every time we do them, we do see more and more and more parents dropping their kids off at the designated drop location so that we can all walk to school together. Outside of that, we have Highway 60 that kind of splits Mazeppa, and there's a lot of students that live in Zumbrota and get bused to Mazeppa, and so they just don't walk to school anyway. And then Highway 58 splits Zumbrota, and there's tons of semis that go through there in the morning, and I know a lot of the community members that live on the opposite side of that are very hesitant to let their kids walk to school. But that is a conversation that we're having, especially this year because of COVID, is how to get those main intersections on Highway 58 staffed in the morning so kids can safely walk to school.
Thank you. And then we have another popular approaches to help get kids that are routinely not attending school to get there?
We have not. I can't speak for anybody else, but we have not used a walking school bus yet, but that has been a part of conversations we've been having the last week and a half.
I'll give it a minute for people to kind of unmute or throw in other questions in the chat box.
There's a question up here about seeing more varieties of physical activities with students, self-selecting their goals and activities. I will say that the last 2 years with the biking and the snowshoeing, or sorry, the skiing and the snowshoeing in winter, I do have students that will come and ask to check out skis and check out snowshoes for the weekend because they're gonna go do something. And fully allowable, like love it, yes, take them please. So I have seen more of that in the last couple of years. So they are starting to ask and like check it out.
That's fantastic. This is great to hear, and just the integration of all these different types of physical activity, and also you've mentioned some of the healthy eating that connects with some of the strategies people on this call who are local public health may also be working on. So I am going to hold a little time at the very end of our webinar for additional questions if people do have them. And it's just, people are really impressed. I see some comments in the chat box here, just what a great story out of Zumbrota Mazeppa. Katie, thanks for sharing this with the group today. And if people do have some additional questions, or if you'd like to reach out to Katie directly, her email address is up on the screen. You might also share that in the chat box so people can follow up with questions if you do have them. And we have one more speaker that I'd like to share a little bit of information about, and then give her the floor to talk today. And we'll wrap up with some questions at the end. So thank you so much, Katie, for joining us today. And you know, we may be talking with you a little bit in a few minutes after at the end of the webinar, but thank you so much, and best of wishes this year with the school year.
Thanks.
So the next speaker that we have today is from BikeMN. We have Michelle Kieffer, who has been an educator since 1990 when she received her bachelor's degree in elementary education. She's a Safe Routes to School program manager for BikeMN, and it's her goal to bring bike ped safety education to every school and have every child feel the joy of being safe in their community to walk or bike. Welcome to the webinar, Michelle.
Thank you, Natalie. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of this webinar today. My heart is just full of joy for the dedication that these two teachers have for teaching their kids about walking and biking and giving them safe skills to learn so they can go out and do walking and biking more, and hopefully grow up to use that as a way to be active and a way to get to where they need to go. So I'm just so thrilled to hear from them and tell you more about the Walk Bike Fun curriculum and how we have adjusted it to distance learning for our teachers and parents and students moving forward. So next slide, please, Natalie. Since we have started the Walk Bike Fun program, we know that teachers have the greatest reach to getting information to children about safe walking and biking skills. And so we really know that our best audience and our best tool are our teachers and community educators. So since 2013, we have been training teachers across the state to use the Walk Bike Fun curriculum, going to their community, inviting local teachers and area school districts and communicators or community educators to come to our training and learn about the curriculum and understand what assistance we can give to them when they go back to their schools and they're ready to teach their students about safe walking and biking skills. And so there was a question about how do we get PE teachers to feel comfortable or get excited or not be concerned about teaching walking and biking. And I think maybe that's about how BikeMN has a bike fleet. We have bike fleets that we can bring to you once you have gone through our training and are going to use the curriculum. We have a bike fleet for you that we can bring out to you. So, and we have many educators. We have over 800 participants who have been in our training, and we can connect you with other teachers who are using the curriculum to help kind of soften that stress or that uncomfortable feeling of not knowing if you can teach this or if your school will be receptive to this. So please, please know that we have that assistance available. Next slide, please. So our Walk Bike Fun curriculum has been around since 2013. We are with our over 800 educators that have been trained in Walk Bike Fun. They are reaching over 80,000 kids across the state, and we're extremely excited about that. We have, though, a long way to go, and we want to be more, we want to know who out there is needing Walk Bike Fun training or needing the curriculum or needing assistance or just have questions about where do you get started with this. And so teachers, PE teachers are our target audience. Schools are looking very different these days and their needs are changing, and we are trying to keep up with it all and be there for them with new ways of teaching. Our community educators are those who are in community centers, are in Park and Rec, are in community ed, are, you know, in youth organizations that can provide some type of education to youth, and they are needing to do so in a different way as well. Next slide. In our Walk Fun unit, if you're not familiar, it is geared toward grades K through 3. And it is 4 lessons long, and it talks about and teaches, like Scott said, the look at, stop at the edge, look left, right, left, cross the street, do so in a straight line, paying attention, looking and listening as you're walking and not being distracted by your phone or dribbling a ball. And so those messages are in our curriculum, and they can be shared with parents, and they can, the whole curriculum can be downloaded from our website. So it's a PDF that you can take out certain pages, certain messages, and share that with whomever needs that message. So we encourage you to, if for any pedestrian type safety skills, look in the Walk Fun unit, and hopefully you'll find some good information to share there. Next slide, please. Our Bike Fun unit is about 8 lessons long, and it talks about and teaches rules of the road, the ABC quick check, how to fit a helmet, and what lane positioning looks like. And so again, these are all great safety messages to keep people safe out on the roads and trails riding. It's for grades 4 through 8 up through high school. So Katie talked about how she teaches 9 through 12. And I'm saying Bike Fun is for grades 4 through 8. So we get this question a lot. Can high school students use this, be involved in the lessons and learn from the Bike Fun unit? Yes, of course they can. By ed teachers, they know how to adjust activities for a certain skill level or a grade level. So please don't not use it because we say it's for up to grade 8. So the bike messages can be downloaded in our PDF. It's a whole curriculum, and there are resource pages in the last pages of the curriculum about the ABC Quick Check, how to fit a helmet, and so all of those messages can be captured and sent out, emailed to parents to talk to them and get their student ready for biking to school, if that's something that you want to do before school starts, or while you're teaching this to the students, you want to share this with parents. It can be extracted from the whole PDF and emailed to parents, or maybe you can put it on your classroom website. There are lots of different ways to send that, the safety messages out in this curriculum to your parents, students, and community. Next slide, please. So what have we done to adjust for teaching through distance learning? Our messages in the Walk Fun unit and our Bike Fun unit. We are very excited that we are able to share with you our distance learning teacher educator guides. So we worked very hard and very diligently this spring when COVID hit and schools were closing and teachers were trying to teach remotely and students were trying to learn at their homes. And so we created the Walk Bike Fun at Home Teacher Educator Guides. And they are also free to download on our website. So we have the Walk Fun unit in lessons and activities that help students to learn more about how to walk safely in their neighborhood and to be outdoors and looking at signs, looking at the infrastructure that they have, learning about what a sidewalk means and where do you walk if there is no sidewalk. So some of those same lessons are being taught through a teacher guiding them either in whatever type of software program they are using, if it's Google Classroom or if it's Schoology or whatever software the teacher has, they can take these lessons and activities from the teacher educator guide, send them to their student in whatever way that they have to, and assign them a way to be accountable for completing that activity. So our distance learning guides have those instructions in them and may refer to a video for the student to watch, may refer them to take a picture and upload it. So we have tried to get into the technology that teachers are using and share ways that they can dump basically our activities into that technology. But also if there's not the technology for students at their home in order for them to participate, we take into account those barriers as well and have suggestions for the teacher and for the student, parent, caregiver to still be able to learn the skills that the teacher is wanting the student to participate in and come away with if the technology is not there for them at their home. Next slide, please. So I know this may be hard to read, but this is a screenshot of a page that we have for the students and parents talking them about these. This is where you can download the guide from. So if the teacher says, this is what we're doing for PE, this is where you can find it. It guides them to this page and they can download it from our website. And then we also offer to the students and parents the distance learning guides in English, Spanish, Somali, and Hmong. And these, as you can see, are available to them on our website. And then also we encourage our teachers, if the student doesn't have the technology at home, to print them. And so we have, through Maya's great skills, she has made it able to be printed and not lost anything, because it's not on, because the student isn't seeing it on the internet or on their computer. Okay, next slide. So this is also a screenshot of a page that we have in the Kids Fun. So we did also put on our website Kids Fun page, so they can on their own, if their teacher isn't using the Walk, Bike, Fun distance learning guides, but maybe the parent is looking for their student to do something a little bit more around walking or biking, or maybe the student on their own comes to the BikeMN website and discovers Kids Fun. This is just one page. It's a PDF that they can look at and take them through some instructions, and gives them a video to watch, and then asks them to do an activity to help discover what it is that they have learned. And then we also have, so I want to just highlight the bottom left box of this PDF, Connect on Social Media. We have a Walk, Bike, Fun at Home Facebook group. So these are for parents and kids and community educators. Of course, teachers can also become part of this Facebook group, where we are sharing more information guided towards families, to get families out walking and biking more. So maybe you can share with your network the Walk, Bike, Fun at Home Facebook group, but we also have the Walk, Bike, Fun Educators Network group, and that is for the professionals who are looking for ways to teach kids or connect with each other about walking and biking education. So yeah, throughout our distance learning guides, we have noted that we would really love to hear from teachers and from students and from parent caregivers, how these activities have helped them learn more about being a safe pedestrian and safe bicyclist, so they can become, put their pictures on the Facebook pages, or share publicly with hashtag #WalkBikeFun. We really want to hear more from the students. We want to hear more from the teachers, and hearing from Scott and Katie today and having them share with all of you was something I haven't had the opportunity to hear in a while. And so I'm so happy that they have had success with Walk, Bike, Fun, and were able to share that with us today. Next slide, please, Natalie. So what do our educator trainings look like in the future? And I would like to share with you that we are planning to do more educator trainings in the future. Because we cannot come out and do our large classroom trainings or have our large outdoor biking portion of the training, we are developing our educator trainings into 3 parts. And the first part would be online for the teacher to go in and learn on their own through an online learning platform. The second part of the training would be given to that participant after they've completed the online training, and that will be a Zoom learning experience with myself and CJ and possibly some others from BikeMN. So that would be another platform that teachers are going, or participants are going to learn about the Walk Bike Fun curriculum through a Zoom or some type of learning software online opportunity. And then the part 3, which would be given to the participants after they completed part 2, will be a small group with CDC recommended distancing and sanitizing type guidance with bikes and learning and doing the outdoor skills part of our training. So we are developing this as I speak, working feverishly. Oh, whoops, sorry, didn't mean to use that word feverishly during this time. But anyway, working very hard to get these trainings completed, finalized, and inviting others to participate who haven't. So please be patient and hold still and stay in touch with us either through the Wheels and Walks e-newsletter that I send out monthly, or through our Walk Bike Fun Educators Network. And I'm so happy to have shared all of this information with you. Please contact me if you have any questions about the Walk Bike Fun curriculum, or how to get your schools to get more kids walking or biking when schools are limiting the amount of kids that can be on buses and need more ways for kids to walk and bike to school safely. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks, Michelle. This is wonderful information, and it's great to hear about the Walk Bike Fun at home lessons. And again, you know, Michelle's contact information is on the screen, and you might put your email address in the chat box so that people can contact you directly. I am going to, I'm thrilled to introduce our next speaker. It's going to be just a really brief intro, but Ted Dubner is our supporter relations person here on staff at BikeMN, and he's going to share just a couple of events that are coming up, and actually one that's already happening. And then we'll take a couple of questions at the end. So welcome to the webinar, Ted.
Hey, thank you. Hey, everybody. So many of you may know that we've been doing a monthly trivia event. It's been really fun for me to put together, and as well as expand my knowledge on everything biking and walking related. We've moved to a new time, so that'll be August is the 27th, 6:30. It's totally free. We've had some good sponsors, but and I still have some fun prizes to give away too. So hope folks will join for that. And somebody asked yesterday, can you pool your resources and be a team? Absolutely, you can do that. So your entire family can be one team if you want, or you know, assemble some others to kind of join up on Zoom. So that's a good thing to look forward to. So yeah, every 4th Thursday of the month. If any questions about that, or you know, sponsor ideas and that kind of thing too, like we'd love to hear it. But it's kind of a fun way to kind of break up the month too. Yeah, and this is one that we're super excited about. It's the BikeMN Classic. Maybe some of you have seen some of these logos kind of going around social media and what have you. And just to kind of recap, you know, we host a number of very large in-person events, some of the biggest ones in the state, like the St. Paul Classic brings, you know, like up to 6,000 plus folks and hundreds of volunteers to pull off. Unfortunately, due to the COVID realities, we're not hosting any of these large in-person events, but we are very excited to give a try for this one. So this is a BikeMN Classic. And so what we've done is we've done 4 weeks of photo challenges, and we've already have lots of submissions coming in. And so you can enter every week during the BikeMN Classic, really simple way, and you can do it anywhere in the state. So the difference between our virtual event and lots of other ones you might see is you don't have to ride a certain route, you don't have to log mileage or anything like that to qualify, and you don't have to pay anything. You just got to submit some photos to us and show us you know, where you're riding and that sort of thing. So we've got lots of amazing prizes to give away, you know, thanks to some sponsorship too. You know, if you want to support the organization, you know, you can always buy a t-shirt and that kind of thing too, but, you know, not required. We're just really trying to get folks to ride wherever they are in the state and kind of share some of that with our network and kind of engage that way. And we're really looking forward to it.
Thanks, Ted. And, you know, this is just a wonderful reminder that anyone that's on the network webinar today, or maybe listening to the replay in September, on the 16th of September from 11:30 to 12:30, we'll be holding our virtual events webinar topic. And Ted will be a featured presenter on that webinar, and we'll learn more about what are some of the ways that people are holding events in a new way and being creative and innovative during this time of the coronavirus. So this is going to be just a discussion to be continued in September. So we are at time, it's 12:30, so I do want to be respectful of everyone's time. However, if you do have some questions for Michelle or Katie, we can stay on maybe for a few more minutes to take those questions. However, if you do need to drop off, feel free to do that. I just want to thank the speakers that we had today, Scott, Katie, Michelle, and Ted, and also Maya for managing the chat box today. Thank you so much, and for the participants that have joined in. You know, this is a timely topic, and I appreciate all the questions that people have asked today. And again, you know, we share the email addresses with this for the speakers today. If you'd like to reach out directly, or reach out to me, Natalie at BikeMN.org, if you do want to follow up with additional questions. So I'll just pause for a moment before we wrap, and see if there are any additional questions in the chat box or questions people would like to ask the speakers. So I always, you know, this is one of those things at the end of any meeting or class or anything, if you ask anyone if they have questions and it's the opportunity to move on to something else, then of course the room is silent. So anyways, I appreciate all of you today. And again, you know, if you do have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to me, Natalie at BikeMN.org, or to our speakers directly. Thank you everyone for joining the Minnesota Bike Walk Leadership Network webinar today, and we hope to see you again in September. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.